During episode 4 and 5 of Ahsoka, we see her interact with her former master Anakin Skywalker in an unfamiliar world that could easily be written off as a dream by viewers. But what if this was a real interaction in a real place with the real Anakin Skywalker? Today we will explore the Force-rich dimensions of Star Wars known as the World Between Worlds and Mortis, and understanding why these realms might key us into how it could mean everything Ahsoka went through with her former master was not simply a dream. If you enjoy Star Wars content, be sure to subscribe for future videos. Now let's get into the breakdown of these Force realms. The World Between Worlds is a fascinating concept introduced to us in the animated series Star Wars Rebels. It's a mystical dimension outside time and space thought only to be accessible through ancient Jedi temples as seen on Lothal. And this is an image of the doorway here with 3 interesting looking characters we'll get to in a second. Our first intro to this World Between Worlds showed us how Ezra Bridger was able to save Ahsoka Tano during her past duel with Darth Vader. She was dragged into it by Ezra through what was depicted as a portal. She eventually goes through the same portal to her original time and goes into hiding. She vanished from reality during these moments of her duel. I know it gets compared to time travel, but it's not as simple as the time travel mechanics we're used to, which causes some confusion amongst fans. Creator of the World Between Worlds, Dave Filoni, shared some important information in an interview. It's also important to keep in mind when theorizing.
You know, it's not about time travel. It's really not about time travel at all. It's just about a place where everything comes together and you hear different things echoing throughout time. I don't know how real it actually is. I don't want to define that for people anyway, but it's not this place of gateways and doorways that you just go in and out of. Now Ezra can pull Ahsoka into that world. And sometimes we do weird things like create Bendu or, mysterious wolves. But I think as long as you work off the principles of the Force that George set up, that it doesn't change it, and you don't erode what makes Star Wars special.
It is interesting how at the end when Dave is talking about the principles of the Force that you work off that George has set up, they do show a clip of the Mortis arc from Clone Wars, which leads into our next Force realm of Mortis. During Season 3 of the Clone Wars animated series, Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan go through quite a mind-bending experience. These are amazing episodes I highly recommend. You can skip to this time if you've seen them and you don't need a rundown, but here's a quick one. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka get a distress call. They exit hyperspace and are trying to meet Rex, who is supposed to be at the same coordinates they are, but they cannot be seen. Instead, our heroes look upon a massive monolith. Our heroes are pulled in by what seems to be a tractor beam of sorts, or maybe the Force willing them in on this journey. Once inside, they soon realize they are not at any trackable location, maybe even outside of their own galaxy.
I can't even lock down where in the galaxy we are, or if we are even in our own galaxy.
We finally encounter the beings who live in Mortis known as the Father, Son, and Daughter. They should look familiar because they were on the door to the World Between Worlds on Lothal, and it's no coincidence. These 3 Force deities represent the Force itself. The Daughter represents the light side, the Son represents the dark side, and the Father is the balance between them, and it's the Father's job to keep his children from getting too powerful. The Father knows Anakin to be the chosen one, and he believes that means Anakin will replace him as the one who can control his daughter and son, light and dark. Anakin shows he does have the power to do this, but does not want to take over for the Father. Eventually, this all leads to the Son killing Ahsoka and also mortally wounding the Daughter with the only weapon that has any power over these deities, the Mortis dagger. The Daughter's remaining spirit energy is channeled into Ahsoka to save her life, but this was all in the Son's quest for more power, which he achieves. The Son becomes too strong for the Father alone, but it is explained that the Son gets his power from his Father, so the Father uses the ancient dagger of Mortis on himself, leaving the Son weakened for Anakin. This starts causing the world around them to collapse, and we fade to white and our heroes are back in their ship, asleep. This time they are where they're supposed to be. Very mind-bending Star Wars.
We read you, Rex? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Standing by. We were worried.
You were off the scopes there for a moment.
A moment? We've been gone more than a moment, Rex.
Sir, I don't understand.
You and me both, buddy. I'm going to play a couple more clips. One is of Dave Filoni talking about Mortis on a podcast a few years back called Rebel Force Radio. And the other will be a very recent behind the scenes from the Star Wars YouTube channel with Hayden Christensen and Dave Filoni.
It's nice if it's like a genuine sort of recollection of like, oh, I've heard that before.
Oh, I've heard that before.
There's a certain level of reality going on there, on Mortis, and a certain level of, imagination or feeling or emotions that are projecting for sure. And another reason I want to be cautious about it is that we're not necessarily completely done with the line of thinking that we started in those episodes. If I come out and define a bunch of stuff, or if he does, it's really going to rob you of your speculations.
Oh.
So I'm going to be very careful about how implicitly I answer anything.
Please, Dave, do not tell us there is no Santa Claus here.
Well, I think it's safe to say there is very much a Santa Claus in the world of Mortis.
Interesting how Hayden says a certain level of recollection, and Filoni agrees with him. When also considering what Filoni said about the world between worlds and not wanting to define it for people, it seems very much like direct answers about both of these worlds and its inhabitants may not be explicitly stated, but possibly hinted upon for fans deep in the lore to figure out. The acknowledgement that they're not done with the line of thinking from those episodes could mean a lot of different things, but it could mean that there are more hints coming about those characters. I think it's important to remember not everyone who enters one of these force-rich dimensions, such as the world between worlds or even Mortis, has the intention to. It sort of just happens, or could be their destined journey. So with some of this extra information, we can theorize to the connection between these force realms, and if Anakin did become the father after all, which is why he was able to transport Ahsoka into this realm to give her one final lesson. Even though the initial concept of the world between worlds is not identical to what we see in the Ahsoka show, meaning it might not be the real version but just in her head, it could be seen as an artistic choice to depict the colors different, as well as the removal of the portals. But since Ahsoka is being guided to different points in her life, it could have just been another artistic choice to remove the portals as well, which is why Ahsoka could not just walk out at the end. It felt to me, when Anakin ended her training, he signaled her end in that realm, and it was time for her to return, so the world between worlds encloses around her. In my opinion, it's a good depiction in live action compared to just walking in and out of portals through time, make it seem more ambiguous but still very surreal. But the idea that Anakin now has an impact in this realm could mean that he is indeed the father, embodying light and dark side in his training of Ahsoka. Well, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching and joining me on this journey of speculation. If you enjoyed and want to see more, please remember to like and subscribe. Have a great night, and I'll see you in the next video.